Welcome to our Africa Tech segment. In today's world, technology plays an important role in every industry, as well as in our personal lives. The dependence on technology in the healthcare industry cannot be overstated, and as a result of the development of these innovations, healthcare practitioners can continue to find ways to improve their practice. These advances in medical technology are often very beneficial because they can save lives, time, and even money. However, physicians and healthcare administrators must take care to use the technologies to avoid harming patients instead of helping them. Our guest today is Christopher Masek, a healthcare technology expert and CEO of System1. Thank you for joining me on the program.
Thank you, Tim.
So, what are the challenges faced in the health industry regarding technology?
So one of the biggest problems is just adoption. You know, as technology advances, it doesn't advance equally at all levels of the society. So in order to cover everyone with healthcare, you have to take that into account, you know, as you come up with solutions or technology to advance health.
So far, what are the technologies we have and what should we be expecting to see?
So there's a number of new diagnostics that diagnose. They're getting smaller and closer to the point of care, closer to our lives. You know, soon I imagine people will just be using their phones and home self-tests, kind of like a pregnancy test, to be able to diagnose all kinds of things. I think the phone also will become a central focal point of information, both for diagnosing your own symptoms and your own health, and then receiving results and treatment back. And we're starting with our company to use, you know, apps on the phone, and people are getting more used to moving information around that way to deliver health services and results to patients.
But with technology, it makes it more prone to a lot of hacking people's information.
Yeah.
So how do we ensure the safety of patients?
Yeah, so similar to the banking, the financing industry, or other industries that use information and data and protect privacy, the healthcare industry has pretty high standards for patient protection, patient privacy. And it's kind of like, you know, the hackers and the software, it's almost like a virus in your body. You know, you have an immune system that keeps out things you shouldn't have, just like a health system, you know, the data would be preserved. But there's constantly little things poking at the door that you have to just kind of keep out. And if something comes in, again, disease, you just have to rid it, like a virus.
Okay, so is there a regulatory body that monitors these developments?
Yeah, so my company's in the US, and so we follow some US and some international European and South African standards, but we also follow the same standards in any country that we work with. So there's protections both for data security and individual privacy.
Okay, so there have been countries where robots help out in treating patients. Do you see that happening in Africa, especially here in Nigeria?
I think you have to take you have to prioritize that a little bit. You know, there are robots now around the world. These technologies starting to exist. They're fairly expensive and kind of cutting edge. Eventually, I'm sure they will come to Nigeria, as everything does. But there are still so many steps to treatment and health that could be done at a much smaller scale, at a much simpler scale, that would actually benefit many people. I would hate to say we should put the robots in without taking care of some basic health concerns first.
So let's talk about the basic. How can healthcare technology help here in Nigeria?
So a lot of the work I do, for instance, in Nigeria is with tuberculosis, and Nigeria is one of the highest TB burden countries in Africa. It's such a process to try for the government of Nigeria and the national program for TB and leprosy to diagnose and find and treat the people that are infected with tuberculosis. So we are coming up with technology that makes it easier to see the diagnosis of the patient, get the results back to the patients and the clinicians faster, monitor the taking of the treatment. You know, it's a long treatment if you have tuberculosis, so different ways to automate and optimize the delivery of healthcare to patients all over the country, you know.
Okay. Christopher Masek, healthcare technology expert and CEO of System1. Thank you for joining us on Network Africa today.
Thank you, Tenny.
Finally on the program, some of West Africa's biggest and upcoming artists gather in Senegal's capital, Dakar, to play their music and share in the roots of African music, while musicians from all over the world, organizers of the Dakar Music Festival, say they hope to revive the local music scene amongst young people.
The second edition of the Dakar Music Festival kicked off last week in the Senegalese capital, bringing together international and local acts, as well as DJs playing in different venues across the city. The festival aims to bring together artists from various backgrounds and different genres of music in what organizers hope will revive the local music scene among young people. Despite Senegal's renowned distinct sound of music that blends traditional and modern styles, and legendary musicians such as Youssou N'Dour, Cheikh Lo or Baaba Maal, young Senegalese have increasingly gravitated towards our younger urban sound, like Nigeria's popular Afrobeat or South African hip-hop.
In the years before, yes, Senegal was the leading country for music. But now, 20 years later, Senegal is no longer #1 in Africa. Today we're talking about Nigeria, Mali first. We're talking about DR Congo before talking about our country. Because people here are just focused on local music.
C'est une découverte. With a lineup that includes established artists such as Cheikh Lo and up-and-coming groups such as the Afro-jazz band Sahad and the Nata Patchwork, the festival's organizers hope to attract a diverse group of music lovers.
We chose a theme, which is the mix between contemporary music and African music that showcases African culture. In fact, at every event, we offer live band as well as electronic music. So people that like African music come to discover electronic music, and the people who like electronic music come to discover African music.
Senegalese music fans were not forgotten, with bands such as Ongwewe Rhythm electrifying the crowd with rhythmic dancing and drums playing umbalex, which had been at the core of artists such as N'Dour and Baaba Maal's music.
They are in the business like more than 20 years. So for me, they are an example. You know, they are an example of the old school, but they're still in the new school.
The festival, which began on November 8, is due to end on November the 18th.
That's it on the program. Have a lovely weekend. I'm Teniola Shubawale.